deep in the heart of Central Texas, it's the Best of the Outdoors podcast, brought to you by Texas Fish and Game Magazine, the voice of the Texas outdoor nation. I'm your humble host, Dustin Warncke, author, outdoor writer, videographer, speaker, blogger, podcaster. If this is your first time to the show, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for reading, checking out all of our fishing game content that we have in the Texas Outdoor Nation. And man, I am just so pumped up to be in front of this microphone again and deliver you another show. If you've noticed our releases lately, as far as the podcasts go, I've had one every week because we've had two dedicated podcasts, one for Frio Coolers, one for Aguila Ammunition, and then this one, which is sponsored by Silencer Shop, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But I just really want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, checking out our show. There are a lot of you out there that have asked me recently for gear reviews and wanted to kind of see what kind of gear that I'm using these days and kind of get an idea of what kind of things are out there that will help you be a better hunter and fisherman. And that's what I wanted to do, is bring something that would be of value to you, things that I use in the field that aren't necessarily all new or the newest, hottest thing, as some of them are, but things that I have viewed to be very helpful for me in the outdoors. So that's what I wanted to dedicate this show to be, as a gear review episode. And you get your humble host, Dustin Warncke here. You don't get a guest this show, you just get me. And I always call these shows Dustin's Mad Minutes, because I madly go into all the crazy things that I'm into these days, and just have some fun talking on the microphone, and just really have a chance to share this with you in the Texas Outdoor Nation, as well as beyond Texas. I know many of you listen out of state, and I really appreciate that as well. I just can't thank you enough for tuning in and watching our stuff and reading and listening to our podcast. So really excited to have you on board. If you've not done so already, please subscribe to the show. It is free. It comes out every 2 weeks, here lately every 1 week, but we're probably going to get back to 2 weeks here pretty soon. This is a great content-rich show. We really put a lot of good stuff out there. This is more of an educational, informational podcast than it is just a storytelling podcast or anything like that. I mean, we really try to inspire and educate you to go out and have the best of the outdoors, and that's what I want to try to do. I've just recently been on a couple of other podcasts, and you can check out one of my interviews that I recently did at dustinsprojects.com under the podcast appearances link. And basically, that was on the Hunt, Fish, Repeat podcast, and that was a really, really awesome show that I did with Trevor Bryan from the Hunt, Fish, Repeat podcast. It's just getting started. I think it was his third guest. So we talked about air guns, crossbows, urban hunting, lots of great content there. So I was a guest on his show. I invite you to go check his show out. And then I was a guest on the Cast Blast Grill Chill podcast. If you remember, I had those guys on a few weeks ago. For the last one of the last podcasts we did, that I did interview style, and I had a really good time with Trevor Bryan and Jeremy Beeston, who co-hosts that podcast together, and they just had me on their podcast, and really excited to have the opportunity to talk to them about hiring a guide and an outfitter, stuff I've talked about on this show before, things to look out for, things, especially if you're not a public land hunter, or if you are looking to get into hunting private property for big game or small game or whatever, going fishing on fishing trips, hiring that ranch or guide or outfitter to support your hunting dream of killing that big buck, or whatever you're into, really getting some meat for the freezer, so on and so forth. There's a lot of really cool things going on there. So anyway, I will have that as soon as that drops, and when I'm recording this one, it hadn't released yet, but it probably will release by the time you hear this. Cast Blast Grill Chill, you can find on iTunes and all the other places that you can find podcasts. They've got a great show there. They do a lot of cool storytelling and just experience of the outdoor lifestyle is what I really like about their show. So a big shout out to those guys again for having me on their podcast. So moving right along, I want to definitely mention the sponsor of this episode, which is Silencer Shop, and I thank them so much for being one of our official sponsors of the Best of the Outdoors podcast. Silencers for your firearms are becoming ever more popular these days. They are trending in all kinds of new categories where you can get them for your rifle, your pistol, in so many different types of silencers you can get for different calibers and so on and so forth. And I've talked about companies like Gemtech, Q. There's just a bunch of different companies that are out there that produce silencers, and Silencer Shop is one of the best places that brings them all together and basically retails them at a very affordable price, as well as a fantastic value to you as a customer for the end process, because we all know that there's all kinds of forms and paperwork and stuff like that you have to do. So your question is your transfer for your silencer powered by Silencer Shop? Make sure you see the I Spy, the powered by icons in the top right corner of your Form 4 when you do your transfer. These icons in that location mean that, number one, you can enjoy error-free Form 4 process. Number two, line-by-line form review by NFA experts, exclusive ATF-approved barcoding process, and lowest error rate in the industry. You also have access to the Powered by Silencer Shop network, over 300 Powered by Silencer Shop dealers nationwide, quick and easy resubmissions with our S.I.D. kiosk, purchases eligible for our single shot trust, and you qualify for a 90-day money-back guarantee, 100% satisfaction guarantee, or you receive a full refund, including your tax stamp. Demand powered by. Find your nearest dealer or shop the industry-leading inventory at silencershop.com. That's silencershop.com. When your transfer is powered by Silencer Shop, you have access to an error-free Form 4 process, the largest inventory in the industry, and may even qualify for our exclusive 90-day money-back guarantee, where you can receive a full refund, including your tax stamp, if you are not 100% satisfied. SilencerShop.com. That's right. With over 300 Powered by Silencer Shop retailers nationwide, there is always one close by. You can also shop their entire inventory online anytime you want on their website. Demand powered by. Find your nearest dealer or shop the industry-leading inventory at silencershop.com. Awesome. So I really endorse the guys at Silencer Shop. They're a fantastic company. They will be at the NRA show here in Dallas coming up next month in May. That's just a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of weeks from when this show releases. So I just want to invite you to go check out the awesome Silencer Shop booth at the NRA show. They've got tons of silencers on display. I will probably do some NRA coverage most likely, and we'll mention them again. And I'll also mention them on the SHOT Show recaps that I did for SHOT Show, because they were there as well. So these guys are just all over the place. I love this company. So silencershop.com, that's silencershop.com. Check out for your silencers, your paperwork, and everything else simplified. Okay, moving right along to our product review. I covered both hunting and fishing products fairly equally in this show, and most of you guys know, listening to me over the years, and it's been years now. I just can't believe we're celebrating almost 3 years of having this podcast up on the air waves, doing it every 2 weeks. So I really enjoy doing this, and I enjoyed bringing you gear reviews, so you don't have to go online and search for them. You don't have to go online and read a bunch of stuff in a bunch of different places like a lot of us do. I've done a lot of the research for you, and I'm going to cover both hunting and fishing stuff fairly equally, but I probably do both equally anyway with the fishing ministry that I'm involved in. I do a lot of fishing, do quite a bit of hunting, especially with the ranch that I work with, DB Hunting Ranch, and just have a lot of fun doing all this stuff. The first thing that I have in front of me is a box of the Coast Polysteel 600R. I mentioned getting this at SHOT Show this past year. Not this past year, but earlier this year, I should say. And Coast makes a fantastic line of cutlery, knives, multi-tools, and flashlights. And they're very well known for their flashlights. We're talking lifetime guarantee, lifetime warranty, and these are just great. This Polysteel 600R. I've had some chances to get outdoors with it, hunting and fishing both, and really have enjoyed it the way that it comes. It's got a stainless steel core. The thing is just reliable as an AK-47. It is lightweight, but it's very durable. It is waterproof, crush-proof, drop-proof. And the thing just looks mean. But I, of course, mean that in a good way. But the thing is just really durable. It's lightweight. It has two different ways that it can run as far as power. It has a flex charge, is what they call that, USB port rechargeable battery pack. and then it's dual power, and then it also takes 4 AA batteries. And I've got kind of both ready to go. I've got the AA batteries installed in the flashlight, and then I've got the rechargeable battery pack as a backup if I'm out in the woods and I need to use the flashlight for an extended period of time, like I do when I do my night hunting stuff. That's a fantastic idea, is to have both of those on board, so you can swap out power sources. And the rechargeable batteries are really nice because you don't have to worry about wasting a lot of batteries, spending a lot of money on batteries if you don't want to. I mean, I carry a lot of batteries around all the time, so having the flex charge version is very, very cool, and I really enjoy this thing. It's got 710 lumens on high, 245 lumens on low, on medium, and 73 lumens on low. I run mine on high and medium for the most part, and that is with the alkaline batteries. For the rechargeable batteries, I run 530 lumens on high, 155 lumens on medium, and 42 lumens on low. And things just great. I have a blast with it. It lasts for a long time in the woods, and it's great navigating for your boat. It's great navigating for just going in the outdoors. Great for blood tracking. I mean, it's got a twistable focus on it, so you can basically move from kind of a pinpoint, light to broad focus light. And that's the thing I've really enjoyed about this light, is that it's got so much versatility to it, besides it's just being durable as you can get. And I always say that when I first got this light, my impressions were it was just going to be durable, but I just didn't realize how usable and how much utility you can get out of one of these things. I've really enjoyed all that stuff here lately. So that's the Polysteel 600R from Coast. They have knives, lights, multi-tools, awesome stuff. So I also brought along the FX 200, which is the knife that I was given to review, and this is probably the lightest knife I own, and I own a bunch of knives, guys. But basically, it is like a featherweight of a knife. It has a money clip, or you can use this as a pocket clip, and it's got a built-in bottle opener, which I always need a bottle opener. If you're drinking craft beer, you're going to need a bottle opener in a lot of cases. If you are drinking, Mexican soda pop, like the soda water, like the Coke and Sprite and those kind of things you get from Mexico, you're going to need a bottle opener, and this thing has one built in. This is so light. I mean, I'm holding it in my hands. It doesn't even feel like anything. It's almost good enough where you use it as a backup pocket knife. It's just a money clip that doubles as a knife. You can use it as just a bottle opener because the utility of the knife is very sharp. It's very lightweight. It's almost a skeleton of a knife, the way that it's designed, and I really think that is cool. So that is the Coast FX 200. I first mentioned this knife at SHOT Show when I got it to review, and I've done a review at fishgame.com on both the light and the flashlight and the knife, both, and you can check those out at fishgame.com if you want to read a little bit about my experience with them. But I'm just telling you, they're two fantastic products. There's another Coast flashlight that I have that is very handy to have around in this little gray flashlight, and it's got the variable zoom as well. I don't have the model number with me, but just about any flashlight you're going to get from Coast is going to be durable. It's going to be reliable. It's going to have a warranty on it that you can just use for a lifetime. And there are not a lot of light companies out there that have that kind of stand behind for their customers that Coast does, and I want to definitely give a big shout out to them. They're based out of Oregon, and they really take flashlights, knives, and multi-tools seriously, that's for certain. Okay, next up is going to be Bubba Blade. I love my Bubba Blade. I've talked about this in the show a couple of times now. I've got a 9-inch tapered flex, and they also come in the regular stiff versions of the Bubba Blade. I think that's the original kind they came out with. I've experienced them over the years, but I've never owned one until here recently, and I got the 9-inch, like I said, tapered flex blade fillet knife. It's got a red handle. The handle's kind of wrapped, and it's got a real grip that the wetter it gets, the stickier it gets, the better it is to hold, the better the grip, the wetter it gets. I don't know what kind of material they use, but it's great. It's got little hand inserts for your fingers, to go on the top and the bottom, your thumb to go on the top, and you can just use that knife forever. There's also a review I have at fishgame.com I did a couple of months ago on the Bubba Blade that I shared with the Bubba Blade folks, and they were very happy with it. But if you want to go check out some of my experience, some of the fish pictures that I have of me filleting with the Bubba Blade, it's really cool. I'm getting ready to leave when I'm recording this podcast. This is another Crosswater Outfitters weekend, and I'm the head of the fillet team at Crosswater Outfitters. So that's the only knife that I use. It takes a little bit of sharpening. Like I say, I've hardly had to sharpen mine at all, and it keeps just a razor edge. But it's built for saltwater conditions, even though I do a lot of freshwater fishing. It's built for those hardcore saltwater conditions that are just really brutal. And this thing just takes a lick and it keeps on ticking. I mean, it's fantastic. And so you have your 9-inch tapered flex, you have your 7-inch tapered flex, and then you have your Bubba Blade 9-inch stiff fillet knife, and then 12-inch flex fillet knife, and then they've got a 4-inch shorty knife. Plus, they have the whole wide variety of hunting knives as well. The Turkinator is a new one that they're out with, and that has a camo wrap on it instead of the red wrap that you get with a saltwater knife. So, freshwater, saltwater, crappie, bass, catfish. I'm filleting catfish like a madman at these Crosswater Outfitter events that I do for the wounded soldiers and their families. We basically, the way that you fillet catfish with one of them is just that you just need a really sharp knife. Go down the spine, flip over your fillet, and go down the skin side. And I've never really had that good of luck going down the skin side with a regular fillet knife. This Bubba Blade goes through that skin like butter when it comes to separating the skin from the fillet, from the meat. And like I say, I can't say enough and thank the guys at Bubba Blade enough for letting me do a product review on one of those, because they're fantastic, and they come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes. I even got DB Wall Game Processing and Taxidermy. They're starting to use them in their shop now. I'm going to start retailing them as well in the retail store because they like it so much. I ordered them a couple of them to try out, and they love them. They're just fantastic knives for even meat processing and that kind of stuff, especially the hunting knives that they carry. So you can check them out at bubbablade.com. That's bubbablade.com. Also wanted to mention on Coast, let me pull up their website. They're coastportland.com. That's coastportland.com for the Coast flashlight and knife that I reviewed. And you can get a lot of this stuff at Academy. A lot of other places, a lot of other retailers have them. I know Coast is carried in Academy pretty regularly, and Bubba Blade is carried by most of the big online retailers, and all the big big box stores carry a lot of Bubba Blade products as well, so you can order those online as well. That's the way I typically shop these days, is ordering online. And like I said, bubbablade.com for that website. I just didn't want to forget the folks at Coast as well. So moving right along from that, another one that I had thought about doing a podcast review on, and I've wanted to do one of these for a while, is Artic Ice. I've talked about Artic Ice at least twice in the podcast. Back when I did the Louisiana Delacroix event that we did with our friends over there, and then another time that we did the SHOT Show, because I mentioned them at SHOT Show on, I think, day 4 or day 5 of that show, getting ready to do their whole deal with the wide variety of ice products, ice replacement products that Artic Ice offers. Artic Ice is ARCTIC. I always spell it wrong without the 2 C's. So, but Artic Ice has the Tundra, the Alaskan, and the Chillin brew. And I'll run down and give you kind of a summary of these, because I had some shipped to me. And I really, really, really love these things. I've used the crud out of them ever since I've gotten these. They have a lifetime guarantee, a lifetime warranty on their products. They're basically flat sheets of ice replacement material, and they stack real well. They also fit in your soft side cooler, like I've got my Frio Vault 24. They stack in there real well. They kind of are dividers, if you will, in some cases of bigger coolers. But they're basically ice replacement technology, and the way that they've done these really well is made these hard, rigid panels, if you will. They're basically long, kind of square, rectangular size panels of ice replacement, and they stack real well. Like I said, they divide real well. They will go at the bottom of a cooler, they'll go on the top of a cooler. They're very convenient, and I got the large size and the extra large size, which is perfect for what I do, because I've got a hard side cooler, Frio 65 quart. I've got a soft side Vault 24, like I just said, And I really enjoy. They have 4 different sizes of these, and they even have a thing called the Chillin cradle for the Chillin brew, which basically is a stackable container that you put your drinks in, especially built for cans, and it's basically the whole thing around it, surrounding it is all Artic Ice product, and basically it's called the Chillin Cradle. And then they have the Chillin Brew collegiate colors and the Chillin Brew cases and all kinds of stuff like that. So, but these are little single layers of ice replacement technology, and you really have to check out their website at artic-ice.com. That's artic-ice.com. They've got the Chillin Brew, like I said, they've got the Tundra, and then they've got the Alaskan. Now, the Tundra is for keeping things frozen and keeping things just really, really cold, and keeping, material that you've got. Let's say it's food, let's say it's any kind of other thing that you want to keep frozen when you're going camping, when you're going between 2 places, long trips and stuff like that. You want to keep your stuff frozen. For me, it's going out hunting and keeping my deer meat frozen or keeping my deer meat cold in a lot of cases. So I'll use the Tundra for keeping things frozen, and then I use the Alaskan and the Chillin Brew for keeping things really cold. And the Alaskan's built for keeping things from freezing, but keeping things really cold. And the Chillin Brew is built for beer, but especially around soft drinks and anything like that, is for keeping things at their coldest without freezing them. And so all 3 of these products are fantastic. They come in, like I say, 4 different sizes, small, medium, large, and extra large. I believe I'm right on that. I'm not an expert on this one yet, but I'm slowly becoming a fan of these. Not really slowly. I was a fan of these the first time I fished with them, because they're cleaner than ice. They're a lot more efficient than ice because they're flat, and they spread your coldness over kind of a layer, if you will. And they're really, really, really fun to use because they stay cold for a long time. They keep your stuff cold without having to use ice. Now, I just do the math on how much I spend on ice at the gas station or the grocery store or wherever over a number of time. Ice gets melty, it gets messy. I mean, all kinds of things that happen with ice, and you got water in all your stuff. You got to drain the water out. These keep things relatively dry. Of course, there's some condensation as the Arctic ice melts. But it's just fantastic stuff for keeping your stuff drier, for keeping your stuff away from being messy, and keeping your stuff cold. And they really have been fantastic to use. I've got a few of them in my freezer now, and they also will extend ice up to 50% longer, and that is also wildly important to me. Whenever I'm going to buy ice, I want to keep it, and that's why I use an extreme cooler for that reason. But Arctic Ice helps me to extend the life even longer than an extreme cooler. So you can use it as an ice replacement, or you can use it to extend ice. But either way, these things are fantastic. They're thrown back in the freezer for a few hours, and you're good to go again. I've never seen a product that I've liked as much as this and ice replacement, because these things are just durable. They're unless you puncture them, they're going to last you for many, many, many years. And they've got a guarantee, a lifetime warranty on them, as long as you don't puncture them. And they're just fantastic. So check out Arctic Ice. Again, Artic-ice.com, or just Google Arctic Ice and you'll check them out. The Chillin Brew, the Alaskan, and the Tundra series. Really, really cool stuff there. So I had a lot of fun doing that. Now, next up, so this was kind of hunting and fishing both. So you have the Bubba Blade was a fishing product. You have the Polysteel, the flashlight, that's a fishing and hunting product. Arctic Ice is a fishing and hunting product, and keeping your stuff dry, replacing ice, that kind of stuff. Then I get into Mustad, and Mustad's getting ready to run in the newsletter, I think the week that this podcast comes out, so I wanted to make sure I did a plug for them in this one, because I am a big fan of the Mustad's boat bag. And they have an 18-inch or a 24-inch. I believe mine's the 24-inch. I haven't measured it, but it's big, and it's big enough to carry all the tackle and everything like that I need on a fishing trip. And the material, it's hard to explain that it's made of. It's waterproof material, but it's real slick, and it's real durable. It's real thick. It's kind of like a plastic layer, but it's really, really tough, and it's hard to penetrate. It's hard to get water in. I mean, it really keeps your stuff dry, and it's really cool. So a lot of people don't even know that Mustad hooks, they've been defining hooks since 1877, and they're based up north. They're based here in the U.S., of course, down in Florida, but they're also based in Norway, I believe, is where they originated from. And so the fishing hook company coming out with a lot of different other things, and I'm getting ready to write an article for that week that this podcast is going to come out. That's going to be about the boat bag that I own, and then another boat bag that they're shipping me, not a boat bag, but another boat bag product that they're shipping me to check out. But they have dry bags. They're so versatile. You can throw your boating equipment in them. You can throw your fishing lures and your cases and packs and tackle boxes and stuff like that in them, and they hold a lot, and they keep everything dry, and you can just throw them on the boat and not worry about them. Throw them on the floor of the boat and not have to worry about them, going anywhere. They've got a nice little shoulder strap, so you can carry them, between, if you're land fishing like I do a lot, or if you're out there on the bay, or if you're wading or whatever you want to do. They keep your stuff dry. They keep your stuff and they're durable. I mean, I could use one of these bags for a lifetime. I really think so. That's how durable it is. And you won't be replacing a bag like you do so many other bags out on the market for fishing because of it failing you. I really don't see that. I see the quality in the maker, the marks, what am I trying to say? The quality and the the fit and finish, the overall build quality of this bag is fantastic. So check those out at mustad-fishing.com and just Google, or you can just Google Mustad bags. They should come up that way. But mustad-fishing.com, and then go to other gear and bags, and that'll bring you to the bags that I'm talking about. They're just fantastic. I got my bag at Burris, Louisiana, at that fishing event that I went to, that I did a podcast about the running of the bulls, if any of you remember listening to that. But I got that, and of course Mustad hooks, fantastic. They're one of my favorite hook companies. I use their small little cricket hooks for perch jerking with my son. I use their hooks when I'm in the catfishing ministry that I'm in. Just can't say enough about the good products that they've got, and the boat bag is definitely one I wanted to bring up, or the dry backpack and all their other backpack and dry bag products. So next up for that is Frio Coolers. If you remember 2 podcasts back before this one releases, we had a podcast where I dedicated the show directly to Frio, and they bought a sponsored podcast that we dedicated the whole show to the Texas Boys Outdoors and Roy Crush, and then Jeff Brandis, the Frio Cooler owner of that company, and fantastic stuff. They've got 3 different sizes of hard side coolers. I have a Frio 65. It's the biggest one. It's easy to manage. It's not too big. It's not too small. It's perfect for putting a couple of small hogs in after you've quartered them in. It's perfect for weekend trips. It's great for hauling food back and forth. And that mixed with some Artic ice is just a great combination, because it extends your ice, or it replaces your ice. And I really have a lot of fun with my Frio 65 that I talked about on that podcast. Also, I use the Vault 24 soft side cooler just about every week, and I know I mentioned that a few times now on this podcast, but it's a Texas flag Vault. It's just awesome. It just reminds me of everything I love about the state and fishing and hunting and the outdoor lifestyle. But I went to a crawfish boil this past weekend, and took it there, and everybody was complimenting on me. That's a cool bag, Texas flag. That's awesome. But it really, what I do is stick my Artic ice packs in there, and then I basically just go around and keep my beer cold, or keep my soda cold, or keep my sandwiches or whatever else cold when I'm out on the water, or at a crawfish boil like I was this last weekend, or hunting or whatever. The Frio goes with me everywhere, and they're fantastic. They keep ice for a ridiculously long amount of time when it comes to the hard side. The soft side keeps ice for a while too, but the soft side are so darn convenient, because you can take them and go anywhere with them, and they just travel with you so well, because they've got a shoulder strap. They even have a built-in, I talked about this in that podcast, but I'll just mention it again, a built-in cutting board, and then a built-in bottle opener, which you always need when you're drinking craft beer and stuff like that, microbrews and that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's an outdoor lifestyle product. So obviously Frio's got a ton of other things, but those are just 2 things I wanted to review on this show. Is a 65 quart Frio cooler that I've got, as well as the awesome Vault 24 that I've got, which is the two biggest coolers of those particular series that they have. So anyway, I wanted to give a big shout out to Frio because they sponsored that podcast, and just a fantastic product, and I really appreciate them supporting our show and the products that they produce, because they really encompass the outdoor lifestyle with their headwear, the neckwear, the different products. The Frio 27, I also forgot to mention. Sorry, Frio 24/7. That's a cup that I drink ice water every day, all day when I work, and that cup keeps ice ridiculously long, and it also has a kind of a shatterproof lid. It's got a bottle opener on the bottom, so you can enjoy your drinks that way without having to find a bottle opener. They're perfect size when it comes to having one in your truck that's not too big, that's not too small, kind of something between a 20 ounce and a 30 ounce cup, tumbler, whatever you're going to call it. But the Frio cups, the 24/7s are great. And I just ordered in some leather wraps for my Frio, for my 3 Frio cups that I have here, and because that kind of dresses them up and makes them look even better. And those are made by Double J Saddlery, and they're just fantastic. I love them. I really love them all. So that's a lot of fun. Okay, moving right along, I also wanted to mention the Vapor Maker from Vapor Trail Scents and Vapor Trail Outdoors. Vapor Trail basically is a company that's run by Rex Holmes, who I've had on the podcast a couple of times. And Vapor Trail Scents or VaporTrailOutdoors.com are his two websites. VaporTrailOutdoors.com, Vapor Trail Scents, and he has a wide variety of different products that are attractants and cover scents. And the one thing that I started using, I purchased a vapor maker this year to try to keep the scent down, the scent control down, especially in the hotter months when we're bow hunting. So this is kind of a hunting product, but this is a really, really cool thing that you got going on here. He also makes a fish attractant that I've used a couple of times. It's worked very well. But the one thing I wanted to mention with the Vapor Maker is basically it's a spray canister that works off of an O-ring that seals in the pressure, and you pump it up and then you spray it, and it sprays you down kind of a fine mist. And they say that it's the way that nature puts out chemicals, or not puts out chemicals, but the way that nature puts out scent is the same molecular, fine mist that this Vapor Maker puts it out. So I've used this quite a bit with a lot of success in hog hunting, spraying myself down, spraying down anybody that I'm hunting with, especially my son Jackson, who does not like to get sprayed down, but that's quite all right. And really have a lot of fun with it because it's amazing, his 33-point buck, but you can put any cover scent in here or any kind of attractant scent in this thing and spray it. But the really cool thing is with the hunting stuff that we do, the 33-point buck is probably the best cover scent that I've used as far as covering up human scent. It's got kind of a little vanilla flavor to it, so it's kind of an attractant as well. And that used with the Vapor Maker really works well for hogs, especially that have a great nose. Deer, even the exotic deer have a great nose and can really spot human odor pretty easily, but it covers you up real well. They even make a shampoo and that kind of stuff, or body wash for the Vapor Maker, not for the Vapor Maker, but additionally they make a cleansing, a body wash type thing for staying clean that way, and then using the Vapor Maker all over your body with the sprayer that they've got on there. I really like mine. It's got a camo cover on it, and it's really got it does not disperse too fast, so you don't really waste a lot because it mists. And when it mists, it basically is giving you, molecular level protection of your, and dispersion of that scent. And I was really a big fan of the way that all worked out, and really impressed with the Vapor Maker for whatever scent you want to use. I'm just a fan of the 33-point buck because I've used it around hogs and deer and have not been spotted or detected at all. And that's been really good. I really, really appreciate what Rex and them have done, because they've been a sponsor of the magazine in the past, of course, but what they really do is refine products that are great for the outdoors, great for the hunter, great for the fisherman. And they, like I say, have fishing attractants. They've got hunting attractants. They've got all kinds of different stuff, and they're a small company. which I really like working with small companies because you kind of get that personal service. And Rex has been fantastic on any questions that I have, educating me, educating you as the audience on this show and that kind of stuff when we do things together. He's just been a fantastic wealth of knowledge to help us understand deer's nose, pig's nose, those kind of things that can hinder us in the outdoors if we're not careful with scent control and those kind of things, especially when we're bow hunting or gun hunting at close ranges. So, really excited about having him on as a partner, and I'd like to have him back on the podcast pretty soon as well. So, the Vapor Maker and 33-point buck from VaporTrailScents.com or Vapor Trail Outdoors. And I've got a couple of more here. I've been wanting to review this next one for a while because I've got a review on YouTube, my YouTube channel, if you want to go check it out. It's the Barnett Whitetail Hunter Pro, and this is a crossbow that I was sent right after SHOT Show, and was basically just looking for some ideas of new products I can test out, and they sent me this one. And it runs between 380 to 400 feet per second, depending on what arrow you use. And that's plenty for me because I've not owned a crossbow that's quite that fast before, but the thing shoots flat and it's accurate. I mean, I sighted it in just a couple of minutes and making great groupings with bullseyes every time shooting it. So it's got a real small lens system to it, so it's kind of a little bit more compact than other crossbows I've owned from Barnett. But it just is durable. It is just fantastic thing that I've experienced here lately, and is one of the best value for crossbows that for its retail price that I found compared to a lot of other crossbow companies out there that are selling crossbows. This one was just was a great value as well if you look at the price. So the Whitetail Hunter Pro from Barnett. I will always talk about, when I talk about crossbows, I use gold tip arrows. I'm just ordering some new ones of theirs in, the gold tip bolts and then gold tip arrows, since I'm kind of part sponsored by them. I just looked up the order that I did for gold tip, and I just ordered in their Hunter Pro 340 spine with 2-inch Raptor vanes, half a dozen of those, and then ballistic, which is the bolts, crossbow bolts, 20-inch, 4-inch Duravanes, half dozen. So I've got those coming in, and then I've also got some new Luminox coming in, and some more scope coats and a couple of other things. So it's been busy over here trying to keep up with all those shipments that are coming into me. But I've got to say those gold tips are probably the most durable arrow I've ever used, the straightest arrow I've ever used, the most accurate arrow I've ever used, and bolts as well. But the Barnett Whitetail Pro is just a fantastic. Whitetail Hunter Pro is just a fantastic crossbow, and this is kind of the combination of stuff that I use. Grim Reaper just sent me over some new broadheads that they're testing right now, that are supposed to open in over 400 feet per second. Stay closed on their flight to the target, and then open on impact, and just be really good for that. So obviously I plug Grim Reaper every time I talk about archery, but they are just by far the best broadhead that I've ever used, and I highly recommend them for crossbow hunting and for regular bow hunting with a compound bow. But I really have a lot of good things to say about these new ones that just came in, and then the new arrows that I'm getting in. So lots of fun there. But the other thing about the Barnett Whitetail Hunter Pro is that they make a Whitetail Hunter 2, I think is what it's called. It's just a Whitetail Hunter, I'm not sure. But anyway, it is basically a crossbow that's smaller for a smaller frame person, such as a child. So, the dad can go with the Whitetail Hunter Pro, and then the kiddo can go with the Whitetail Hunter 2 or the smaller Whitetail Hunter crossbow. And so it's kind of one series of crossbows that kind of has both of those, the father and son, or the father and daughter, or mother and daughter, whatever combination, the uncle and nephew, or whatever the case may be, having them kind of in mind with families getting outdoors and hunting, which I think is so important. As you know, listening to this show, I'm constantly just big about getting families outdoors, getting out there shooting with your kids, your niece, your nephew. There's a friend of my son's friend of his has a interest in archery, and I want to get him over here for a sleepover because Jackson just did a sleepover over at his house, and I want to have him over at our house to teach him kind of how to shoot a crossbow and how to do a lot of the things he's never had the opportunity to. He's has a single mom at home, and she just doesn't have the time nor the resources to get out there and teach him. So that's one of the things I want to do, is kind of mentor him in some of the outdoor sports and kind of get him hooked to shooting and crossbows and compound bows and recurves and stuff like that, and really get them involved in doing some shooting sports. We have just started up here this past March, Hill Country Bow Hunters, which is our big 3D club. I do their website stuff, and they that's just a fantastic way to get out families and do a 3D shoot, 30 target 3D shoot, or just go out there and practice and just have fun in the outdoors. Shooting sports is just so huge as far as archery and air guns and all those different capabilities that we have these days, and I'm really excited about all that. So anyway, last one I wanted to mention, actually second to last one, because there's one more I just wanted to throw in here. The G-Box by Gamakatsu. This is a fishing one now, so switching gears real quick. I really am impressed with this box. It is a tackle box that lays flat, so you can put it in something like in fact it is, this G-Box that I have is in my Mustad bag that I talked about and reviewed earlier, and they got the G-Box utility case 3600 or the smaller G-Box utility case 3200. I'm pretty sure mine's the 3600. It can easily be opened with one hand. It does not open when dropped, and it's got an adjustable layout vertically or horizontally. Tackle stays where you put it. These are blue, so they kind of have that fishing theme to them, and they're made by Gamakatsu. Obviously, Gamakatsu makes a ton of different hooks and all kinds of different stuff that Gamakatsu's up to. Really big fan of this company. Fish with these guys in that Delacroix event that I talked about, where I met Artic and Bubba Blade and those kind of companies. But I've got to say they're connected with Spro as well, which makes a lot of the bass lures, freshwater lures and stuff, and just fantastic companies out there these days. And that's the thing I've always said about what's going on with these days. You're seeing more companies diversify in their offerings, like Mustad offering the bags, Gamakatsu doing the tackle boxes. It just makes sense when you're selling something to sell something to hold that thing or transport that thing in mass quantities, and I think that's brilliant. So this G-Box, the thing I like about it is that it's got rounded corners, so it doesn't have rigid corners. It is easy to open with one hand. It's just got one latch on it that's kind of in the middle, and it's in the front, and it's very easy to use with one hand, and it's just fantastic. So it's good for like I said, your plastic baits or your hard baits. Tackle stays in place and does not go into other compartments when it's closed. The rounded corners make it really easy to get tackle bags out of tackle bags or boat compartments. A lot of good things to say about this, and I think I've seen the price of it for like $13. So fantastic price. You can get that off the Gamakatsu website. That's GAMAKATSU.com, Gamakatsu.com. I've got the utility case G-Box 3600, and really a big fan of that. So I just wanted to mention that. Obviously, Spro and Gamakatsu make a ton of lures. I got some of those to fish with at the last Delacroix event that I fished with a few of them so far, and they're just fantastic. Frogs, crank baits, jerk baits. There's just all kinds of different baits that they make from that company that is just a lot of fun to fish with out there when you're fishing artificials, which is what I'm starting to like to do more than anything these days when I go fishing. So that's a lot of fun. But really a lot to say about that. Also, I wanted to mention in the airgun world, just to switch from fishing real quick, for target shooting, I just got back my SIG P226, which is a two-tone tan and black handgun that basically is from Sig Sauer, and it basically shoots a 177 caliber pellet in two different magazines, or two different clips, if you will. You just load it in a little rotary clip on the top, and on the bottom, when you're done, you flip one over and insert the new one, just like you would a magazine clip, and or a magazine, not a clip, you know what I'm saying. I don't want to get any hate mail for that. But anyway, a lot of fun shooting those. I took mine out in the backyard and shot it with my son yesterday, and finally got the CO2 and everything working well on it. I was taking too much time closing the CO2 compartment, and I let all the CO2 out. I thought there was a problem with the gun. The problem was the user error, though. That was me in this case, and finally got a chance to go out and take that and shoot it. We bought that at the Texas Air Gun Show for $100, and it had a whole bunch of other stuff thrown in on it for free. Pellets, CO2, all kinds of different stuff, and it's just fantastic to get that out in the little archery range, air gun range that we have in our backyard and shoot. And really had a lot of fun teaching Jackson the basics of handling a handgun, and especially that this one shoots air and not fire. It's not a firearm; it's an air gun, and it shoots 177 caliber pistol. So just regular 177 ammunition out of a pistol, and does it very well. And I wanted to give a plug to that. If you're looking for something that's cheap to target shoot with, even if you're not a hunter, you just want to practice your self-defense skills. 177 caliber lead field points are really cheap, and you can spend days and days shooting those and not even come close to the cost of shooting firearm ammunition like a 9 or a 45 or whatever else the case may be. So they use firepower inspired firearms that are really air guns, and this is kind of a replica of the true P226 gun, and just really great for getting out there, getting on target, and practicing your basics and fundamentals of shooting, and just doing your normal practice and target practice like that, instead of messing around with going to the range and paying the range fee and shooting at the range. I mean, you can do this in your backyard in a lot of cases where it's legal. So I wanted to definitely plug the Sig Sauer P226, and they also make the 320 and a couple of other models and pistol and rifle that are an airgun specific thing. They just recently got into airguns the last couple of years, and I'm really excited about that because I love mine. So I just love this stuff. Also, I'm just going to throw this out there, guys, as we wrap up the show, and we've been going for about 45 minutes or so. Thank you guys so much for watching, reading, and listening. Whoever came up to the Houston Boat Show and said they really enjoyed the podcast, would you please email me? Because I'd like to just give you a special thank you. Just email me at through dustinsprojects.com. My email is dustin.warncke, WARNCKE @gmail.com, or you can email me directly through dustinsprojects.com. That email is on that website on the contact page. And just thank you so much you just made my day that day, whoever you were, to listen to the podcast and went by and told Tom, our guy, when I recorded that little episode there, just that how much you enjoy the podcast. I don't hear enough from you guys, and I'd like to hear more from you that you enjoy the podcast. If you would friend me on Facebook, I'm easy to find. My profile's public. I'm not that famous. And you can go forth and just message me on Facebook. Quite a few of you guys have done that, and that's energy for me. I mean, that is my mojo, is in those kind of feedbacks that I get, that you enjoy the podcast, that you like to hear more of a certain subject or whatever the case may be. And one of the things I've heard back from a lot of you is that you wanted to hear gear reviews, so that's why I wanted to do this episode special. So most definitely wanted to do a show just based on that, and we'll have plenty of other subjects. I've got a whole editorial calendar printed out now for the rest of the year for subjects we're going to cover, and I think you're going to like what we have. But I hope you enjoyed this show. I hope you got some content out of it for this kind of thing, that you found value in the products that I review. Obviously, a lot of places you can go to buy a lot of this stuff. Academy Sports and Outdoors is one of our biggest supporters. They carry our books and our magazines and our atlases. You can go there and find a lot of this stuff. You can go online, or online retailers like Bass Pro, Cabela's, all these kind of places that have the different things there in the outdoor retail world. And the brick and mortar stores will carry a lot of these products. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I talk to every one of you, fans, listeners, whatever you want to call it, that listen to the show. I'll be happy to spend some time going over, what I recommend for your particular setup. If you have any questions for me personally, I'll be happy to answer them and take the time to do that. I love to do that. I love to interact with you. And if you're listening on YouTube, thank you so much for doing so. I cannot thank you enough for doing that, because I also have a whole channel on YouTube that you can subscribe to. We do the podcast on YouTube every 2 weeks, and it's just the logo and the fishgame.com, and not me actually in person doing the thing, but I can at least do I can at least have the podcast up there for people to listen to that are international, that may not be able to get the podcast through a podcast player on their mobile device and want to listen on their PC or their Mac. So anyway, thank you so much. I'm kind of rambling on a little bit here, so forgive me. Again, new shows coming out in the future. Really excited to have you part of this. Please subscribe to the show if you haven't done so already. Please subscribe to our newsletter. Every Thursday, this podcast is advertised in the newsletter, and that's at fishgame.com. There's a newsletter sign-up link, and then there's also a way that you can sign up through Emma, which is through how we distribute our newsletters. You have Tactical and Practical Tuesday, you have Wildlife Wednesday, and you have the Thursday State of the Texas Outdoor Nation. All those are free. It's like getting a mini magazine every day and of the week, for those 3 days of the week that we do these, Tuesday through Thursday, and we just love to have you guys on the prowl checking that out and reading a lot of stories. Chester has been banging out some awesome wildlife content stuff lately about different wildlife species you may not have known about, landscape development that's been hurting species like the javelina, new things that are affecting bats. I mean, there's just a lot of different concepts that he talks about that are just fascinating to me, and I know a lot of you like that too, on the wildlife part of things. So it's not just about hunting and fishing. Our whole brand is about the wildlife lifestyle and stuff like that. I also submitted this podcast to iHeartRadio and to Spotify, so hopefully they will pick us up. And if you're listening that way, thank you so much for doing so. Please subscribe wherever you hear this podcast, and you can do that through the Podbean player, directly through podbean.com, and find the show that way, or you can do that a number of other ways. But just really can't thank you enough so much for taking the time to sit down and listen, whether you're in the car or jogging or working out or anything like that. I just thank you so much again for watching, reading, and listening. Have an awesome day in the outdoors. We'll see you next time.